What's up, my people? Let's get this thing started. Welcome back. This is none other than Donnell Donnie Chocolate, and we also have,
Mila.
all right, back with another rendition, another installment of La Vida Blended podcast, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Applause, happy. Yep, that's cool, but that's all right. We got some good stuff for y'all today. We about to have a fun pod. Today's title is Love Ain't Blind.
Ain't that the truth?
Today we're going to be talking about, like, you need to hear this because we are all consumed, partially consumed. We're all impacted by reality relationship shows. I don't care if it's The Bachelor, Bachelorette, if it's Love is Blind, if it's Ultimatum, if it's Love Island. What else we got? I don't know. You got some other ones? Anyway, we have, and it has impacted how we view our relationships. So you need to hear this because you need to figure out what's real and what's fake, what might be helpful, what might not be helpful,
and what ain't for you.
And what ain't for you. Okay, so stay tuned in. We're going to have some fun with this one, y'all. All right, babe.
What?
Do you have facts this week?
Of course I do. Hello.
That's facts. Give it to me.
Well, here's what the Google said. Okay.
No, what it say, babe?
Reality TV shows can have toxic consequences for relationships by creating unrealistic expectations and portraying drama and unhealthy dynamics as normal.
Hold on, whoa. So you mean reality ain't real?
Reality ain't so real.
Oh my gosh, who would have ever thunk it?
And additionally, they say that these expectations can indeed lead to staying in a relationship longer than necessary, avoiding confrontation, and downplaying problematic behavior. And that reality TV shows can also make it seem like you can live through all the drama and hardships of a relationship in 2 months, and then all of a sudden, you end up with the love of your life.
Well, ain't that something?
Ain't that something?
Well, babe, that's facts. Thank you for sharing that. Let's break it down, okay? So, first off, fellas, I gotta talk to y'all. This is something that's really important, and it's gonna help your relationship. I'm telling you, it's gonna help it. Okay? Think about this. We gotta be honest with ourselves. We like these shows too, okay? All right, we do.
I know, I'm guilty of watching all the reality TV shows.
Not sit down and stand at the back of the couch because I'm a real man, but I'll be watching, right? We just got to be honest with ourselves, y'all. You might not be as consumed or not, but we partake in this stuff too when we watch this reality television, relationship television. So we just got to be honest about that, fellas. So let's see. The first one. These expectations can lead to staying in a relationship longer than necessary, right? We established that reality ain't real, at least reality shows. I mean, can you even think about, like, what's the last show we watched together?
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Okay.
Yes.
Imagine this. Imagine not even looking at somebody, meeting for, I don't know, hour or so, couple hours a day, over the course of like 2 weeks. Like, you think you about to find the love of your life?
I mean, that's what contestants, well, some are going into thinking that that's what they're signing up for, right?
I mean, yeah.
And you know what we end up seeing, and it's actually so sad, right? Like the toxic behaviors that like start showing up, the gaslighting, the exchanging of like cards essentially of
that
humans.
Word, gaslighting. We'll talk about gaslighting.
Dun. But like you're swapping partners like you're swapping cards. Like that's what you're doing. And like they're being strategic. They're writing down notes in their little notepad or whatever it is that they write in there about like what they've learned or maybe what they need to ask the person because they're swapping people. I don't know how frequently in this show because this is my first time actually ever watching Love is Blind. But again, it's because I wanted to watch something that was mindless. Look, listen here. I'm a mental health professional, and all I deal with is people's emotions and crisis after crisis. I need to wind down, right?
So
But
you
like
wind down with more
more
crisis.
toxicity.
And that's another honest point. I told you this a long time ago. We don't watch this to see people live happily ever after.
I know, but
We
here's
watch
the thing.
it for the drama.
I know, and that's the unhealthy part, though. Like that's the like we watch it to relieve the stress so that we can see the others, like the stress be on other people, not ourselves. That's what we're addicted to.
I ain't never even break it down like that. I ain't never thought of it like that. I just
thought about it right now, but like I'm just like creating awareness that is what was happening for me.
bars.
Like because just like how I like to watch murder TV, that's for another episode. But like I could literally watch murder TV all day, every day. And people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Well, in this case, it's like I need a de-stressor because I do work in a very an environment that's constantly dealing with death, loss, and grief. That I'm like, gosh, I'll just watch somebody else go through it and it'll help me. Ask me if it helps me though.
Does it help you?
No.
What a surprise.
Momentarily. By a few seconds, it helps me. I laugh. And then by the end of the show, I'm pissed because why did Clay do that to her? And blah, 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 blah,
Clay
blah.
And AJ.
Right. So like it's toxic all around.
Well, one of the things too, I feel like these shows give people false hope. Now, hope is real. The possibility of you having a relationship and having a healthy one, that one's real, right? But some of this is twofold, right? I got a couple thoughts going in my mind, right?
Okay.
One, when it comes to Love is Blind specifically, for those couples that worked out, that is the power of commitment.
Yeah.
You can make a decision to be committed to a person. You can make a decision to continue to look at that person and view that person and see that person and see their beauty. That is a lost art. I feel like too much we depend on romance. Romance is a part of it. I ain't gonna hate. Looks is a part of it too, but people are lacking commitment, which is why I never really believe like none of these people on these shows most of the time.
Right. It's misleading.
It's very misleading.
Right. Like, and to think that like there's a group of like scientists and psychologists that have come together, right? That this is a science experiment. To think that, putting people together across all shows to find love, like they're trying to prove a theory, if the theory is real, that they can mix people together and find love. Now, I can't deny that, for example, Love is Blind, there are people that have stayed together. And I think some people have had children. That's amazing. Now, It goes back to like what people were like thinking and what they were going into, right? Like they were ready to commit. They had done some work ahead of time to come together in this experiment. They were willing to engage in the experiment. Now, the reason why I just like stopped watching reality TV shows all around for a long time is because at the end of the day, like it's not all real. It's fake. Like these people, there's some people that just go for the show to just be on, national television, and that it's not necessarily healthy. And once I actually started doing more research around people that are part of reality TV shows, there's an increase in depression. There's an increase in anxiety. There's actually an increase in those that, die by suicide. Like,
well, question though.
What's up?
Like, what are those numbers compared to the numbers out there right now? Because like we could say increase, but I know those things are on a rise in people in general.
That's real.
Nowadays.
Absolutely.
So that's just one thing that comes to mind when you see those numbers. But it is a false expectation. I'm thinking to myself, at least like when it comes to love and hip hop, they own there because they want to be famous. right? You at least know that.
But they keep it 100 though. They say that.
Well, they already famous people.
Right. It's
So,
just to continue the
but
toxicity.
just think, y'all, behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
before they are even starting the season, they have a casting show or they have a casting agency who are selecting these people to put them in groups. Now, maybe we want to have the best or give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they have the best intentions. They're finding people that are compatible, that they can hook up, or they can potentially find actual love. I know they say they try to really vet the contestants to see if they're really trying to get married when it comes to the ultimatum, or when it comes to Love Is Blind, or when it comes to the Bachelorette. I know that's what they say, but honestly, what makes good TV? I'm hard pressed to believe that they are not in the back pulling the strings, putting people together to create the drama as well.
Right.
Because that's why we watch these shows.
Right. Well, in that, we are addicted to, again, this is me, local and immediate, right? Speaking to myself, right? When I like literally unpack it and why I love watching this, at the end of the day, like what I'm loving to watch is people's heartbreaks on national TV, people's vulnerability, people's like, to be honest, sexual exploitation at times, right? With some of the contestants that are on there. Like that's what I'm watching on national TV.
But why do you watch that though? What does that do for you?
Again, it's
putting her on the spot. She wasn't even ready for this. This wasn't even in notes. Why?
Again, this is to, again, in my mind, to relax.
No, but I'm saying like there's an impact. If all this stuff is happening and everything like that, there's got to be some type of impact. Like, so for instance,
like I said earlier,
there's got to be people out there who see people who are vulnerable and they resonate with that because maybe they admire that. Maybe they too want to be vulnerable. Maybe they see that as a possibility. So,
but I'm a social worker. Like that's like I'm a deep empath, vulnerability, transparency, like all the things is my jam. Right. So like that's natural to me to want to engage in reality TV because I'm also an INFJ and I cannot stand small conversations about the sky being blue. I can't do that. Right.
So sometimes it's like orange and purple and stuff. Now what? Now talk to me.
So here's the thing. So for me, like I said earlier, it's literally to decompress. But what I'm speaking out loud to you on this podcast is that the more that I unpack it, what I'm like, decompressing on is on people's like vulnerability. And no wonder it makes sense why those that are contestants on these shows, why they're so impacted by their mental health after the fact. Because think about the ridicule, like everything that they go through on social media. I've never been one to partake in dehumanizing a human being on these shows, but they are horrible. Like there's horrible people out there that say really mean things about these contestants, right? And yes, of course, they are choosing to go onto national TV, and that doesn't mean that we get to treat people anyway. You know what I mean?
I will say this though, I do not believe in ridicule, and at the same time, if you don't look like Megan Fox, you probably shouldn't open that door and say you look like Megan Fox, because it might fuel the fire and vitriol of the internet.
I know, that poor girl. And I will say she has been like super amazing on the social media talking about that. And she's like, you know what? I can laugh about this now. Actually, she was asking people to come like forward to say, I've been that person that's told her that looked like Megan Fox. Like, she's like, hey, I
don't care who told her that.
You toxic.
No, I'm honest. See, that's not toxic. That's the problem.
Okay, there's a difference.
Now, I'm not trying to say she ugly. I ain't trying to degrade her. I'm just saying she ain't look like no Megan Fox.
That I know. Like she even laughs about it now. Right? Like, yikes. She was like, I wish I would have never said that. And again, right? Like people are mean, right? Like there's things that people were saying about her about that were like so degrading. And so again, I'm just calling myself out into this conversation, like saying like that is what I'm addicted to.
Yeah.
Right. And ultimately, like as a mental health professional, I never wish that upon anybody. Like
Right.
I'm a person who lives with depression and anxiety. Like I don't want to be treated that way on the social medias
Absolutely.
and don't deserve that. And it really has me question like why I need like why do I do that? I mean,
Hmm.
why do you watch it?
For the drama. I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes I'm
We
detached
have
though, right?
enough drama in our lives, babe.
Come on, we ain't drama filled like that, actually.
No,
Why you
no.
make us sound like that? I mean, we ain't perfect by no means. We both have large families. We both have us. We got stuff going on.
Right.
But that's
Absolutely.
the problem, right? To me, this is fake drama. I'm
Mm-hmm.
detached. These these don't seem like real people to me at times
Why? They're not
because
AI
it's a
people.
game to me. So
Well,
you talk about the depression, right?
right.
I do acknowledge that the impact that people
Mm-hmm.
have after these shows
Right.
is really real.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And at the same time, the situations they're in are so fake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, babe, what if we was trying to get married and we was like, let's go to the ultimatum? First off, one of us is saying, no, I don't really want to get married yet. So then it's like, oh yeah, I know what's gonna make them get married to me. Let's go get some other people to live with for 3 weeks to see if we like that.
Well, but then it goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like on the Google's search that I did, is that it also helps people realize, like, whoa, not the contestants. I'm talking about the viewers. Like, oh shit, like that's not the type of relationship I see myself in that. And that's not somebody that I want to be with. So maybe I should engage in a real conversation with my partner about, like, hey, I see myself in that. Let's talk about that.
Now that is a poignant point.
Oh,
Okay. That's something that I want y'all to take away.
mm-hmm.
I always say that some people have to touch the stove to know it's hot.
Mm,
Some people can
mm,
watch somebody touch the stove
mm-hmm.
and know it's hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
That's real.
this is your opportunity to watch somebody touch the stove so you can know it's hot. Meaning you can learn what not to do in relationships. And I think when we watch these shows, we need to be looking through the lens of more of what not to do and not what to do.
Sure.
Right? Mila got this thing sometimes, y'all. I swear, I'll be like, yo, chill. It'll be something random. Mila be like, you know what? That's Donnell. He don't like burgers either. I'm like, hamburgers is like my favorite food. I don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm like, what? So you cannot watch this stuff and begin adopting it, either comparing your partner to whatever is happening, or thinking that stuff is actually realistic because it's not realistic.
Right. Well, I mean, it goes back to like the concept of, realistic, right? Like when you think about the people that are designing this, quote unquote group of contestants going, like they're trying to make it as quote unquote realistic as possible. But I do know that they're like a lot of the reality
It
TV
can
shows.
never be real.
Right. Like a lot of the reality TV shows have been thrown under the water or whatever the term is for that. But because of the type of physique of humans that were like part of these reality TV
Mm-hmm.
shows, and or like how white and or light skinned the individuals
Mm-hmm.
were.
And there's only like, it can only be like one or two blacks. You can't have too many. It
Well,
can't
the Love
be.
is Blind had three. That's why it caused some
Ooh,
friction.
3 black folks.
Like what black person was going to get the other black person?
I
Maybe.
have 3 black friends and they've all been to my house. I don't care about that. It's like, why? Like, all these shows are majority white. The
Right.
majority of the contestants.
Yeah.
Now,
It's
that's
true.
just what it is, right?
Well, but going back to the realistic piece, right? Like they put this image as to what quote unquote the global majority looks like, which is not true.
That ain't global.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is that quote unquote global majority, but that ain't true.
Mm-mm.
And so then you have partners perhaps that are sitting there and watching this and are comparing themselves to that and or comparing their partner to that.
Most of
Physical
the
stuff.
time,
Mm-hmm.
comparing their partner.
Yeah.
That's what it is most of the time.
Oh yeah, I've compared you to some of
And
the show
I
contestants.
nipped that shit in the bud real quick too. Sorry, I know this is a family show, but I gotta keep it real. Okay? You gotta keep it real. All
Oh
right?
God.
I have to.
No,
Because
I get it.
I mean, and even if you know consciously, it's interesting how you begin applying this stuff to your real life. And y'all, this ain't real. These situations are pretty much impossible
Mm-hmm.
to come out on top and to actually find success,
Right.
find love,
Mm-hmm.
build, like, start the foundations of a real healthy relationship, long lasting relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's why. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to shift the conversation because it had me thinking about, again, right, like the lack of, perhaps, like, that's an image that gets portrayed, but it's not real. But like how real the impact is on these contestants after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially for those that were not portrayed in a positive light,
Mm-hmm.
and or for those that were completely heartbroken on national TV, or for those that said something ridiculous and then after the fact, like, it caught them on fire. And so I blame, like, the networks, because, and it has me thinking, again, this is like my mental health lens, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
always like, gosh, I really hope that they have access to free mental health therapy after all these shows because it's toxic.
That's one of my beefs.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the show could be so much more, like, helpful to people in reality if they actually had, like, mental health professionals, therapists, coaches, Ayanna Van Zant, Fix Your Life, like, people who actually could, like, help people work on stuff that they need to work on.
Right.
They just put people in these toxic bowls and be like, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part is,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually a realistic thing for
Right.
people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we partner up and we don't have no playbook on this. We
Right.
don't know what we're doing. We don't have any we just lost in the woods trying to find our direction and make something last with another
Mhm.
person. Right?
But
But
then,
we don't have to be like that outside these game shows.
oh no, for sure. And I also think that, great point. And it had me thinking about how some of these contestants or real life partners that are watching this perhaps don't have what we call in our school systems, a trusted adult or parents or other couples that they can go to and unpack, whatever they are feeling and are sensing from these shows that can perhaps cause like some friction within their relationship, right? If you and I would go and talk to our friend groups about like the drama that you and I created with each other after watching one of these shows, you know what they would say to us?
Shut up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and not in that way. They
Well,
would probably be very much like Clay's mom on that
Mhm.
last episode, right?
Okay.
Fire, right?
Yeah.
Like, bless her because
We're
she
talking about
showed
Love
up.
is Blind.
Yes.
What was that, season 6?
Yes, I believe so.
I didn't watch the first 3 episodes, I don't think, but I watched the
It's,
other ones.
It's the last season of Love is Blind.
Okay, Clay
Clay's
and
mother.
AJ.
Yeah.
Clay is one of the
parts
black
of
gentlemen's gentlemen's, right? Like, and that's I'm sorry, y'all. It was the black girl and the black dude. They was together. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Clay was the boy.
Yes.
AJ was
the
the
man.
girl. Or
the woman.
The woman.
Yep.
Yeah, man and woman. All
Yep,
right.
the woman's. Mm-hmm.
So break it down.
So, Clay was totally expressing some symptomology of somebody who has had a perhaps like unhealthy or broken relationship with a parent. And he was very honest somehow throughout in the best way that he could throughout the show.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately at the end of the episode, they didn't get married.
The very last episode, y'all.
Yes.
Not the end of the episode. The very last. They at the altar.
Yes.
Girl got the wedding dress and everything.
Yes.
Up to it, he like, yeah, we doing this. He did the little fake bachelor party they did. He did that, everything. And at the altar, he said no.
Said no. And
everybody was mad at him. His family was mad at him.
Right. And so we're AJ's friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like the look of death that they gave him when she said, "You ready?" And they said, "Mm-hmm." Like we
See?
all know that look,
Yep.
right? Those are the type of friends we all need. And again, right? Like I don't blame either of them, to be honest. Like when I can unpack like his background, her background, again, there are so many different ways that he could have done that and communicated like his needs that were not being reflected
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. And he just didn't. And, you know, the way that at the end of the episode or towards the end of the episode where Clay's mom was talking to Clay's father.
Clay was traumatized. Like, let's keep it real.
It's true. Like he experienced significant childhood trauma regarding, you know, his father
Mm-hmm.
and all the things that the cheating and the trips that he took without his mother, like while they were married,
Mm-hmm.
and how he had to suppress that for a very long time is such a hurtful
Well,
thing to do to a child.
and like, yeah, just to be specific, essentially, Clay witnessed his dad cheat on his mom a lot,
Mm-hmm.
various trips and different things like that. And that had an impact on Clay. That had an impact on what Clay thought about relationships. And that also had an impact on what Clay thought about himself.
Right.
Ultimately, outside looking in, I don't know. I can't really I ain't trying to diagnose, but outside looking in,
Yeah.
it seemed like that experience caused a lot of fear for him to actually
Mm-hmm.
jump the broom
Yeah.
and actually marry this woman. And this is a way where you can watch outside looking in and you can see something that might not be addressed as far as like AJ's history and how he sees stuff. And you can think to yourself, okay, wait a minute. Do I have some patterns?
Right.
Is there something in me that I need to address? Is there an experience in me that I may need to address?
That's reflective of that
Right.
story.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's if you're single.
Right.
That's if you're in a relationship right now.
Mm-hmm.
There could be things that you are not dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
things that you are not aware of that are impacting your relationship or impacting the longevity of your relationship.
Right. Yeah. I mean, childhood trauma definitely affects us as adults and in relationships. And I definitely appreciate that reflection because, you know, I do think that he was trying to be reflective of like the impact that he had growing up and just didn't have enough skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to do it in a way that was responsible for, you know, as a person that was about to engage in a marriage with somebody else. Like, and in that moment, he did hurt her
Mm-hmm.
and caused a lot of pain and suffrage. And, um, you know, then in that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really hope that people are wrapping around her with love and care. And I felt the same way for him.
Yeah.
I really did. I was really much thinking like, wow, like again, that's just a true reflection of trauma and in real life, right? So in thinking about reality, right, that was reality in my mind as real, right? It was reflective of what he was feeling internally, but for a whole world to see.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that his mom at the end was engaging in a very real, open and honest conversation with, you know, his father and
Mm-hmm.
saying, you were part of this problem as to why he is the way that he is. Y'all need to find some healing. Like that woman is a true
Mm-hmm.
queen, the epitome of what it is to find healing in the form in the pain that you've experienced in the struggle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like she was very honest and it was a yes and. Like she was saying, like you hurt me. You
Yeah.
hurt me.
And you hurt him.
And you hurt him.
And you need to fix that.
Exactly. Exactly. That was like I still to this moment, like to this day, like I
To this day.
to this day. And again, she didn't stay quiet, right?
Mm-mm.
She loved him like her son and like any mother would, and also was very honest and was holding him accountable.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that, right? Not everybody has that space and or time and or people to be able to engage in like, hey, you messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And just because people hurt people, like does not necessarily mean that like you should indeed hurt people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so,
Or that you're not responsible for the impacts that you have on people.
right, exactly.
You still responsible. It
Mm-hmm.
might come from a place,
Mm-hmm.
a legitimate place,
Mm-hmm.
a legitimate misunderstanding, or a legitimate, I don't know how you want to call it, something happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you are a certain way. At the same time, we're still responsible for our impact on other people.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now
absolutely.
look at that healthy reflection on a relationship show, reality show. Ain't that a healthy relationship reflection?
I think that was great.
I think that was great.
I mean, I think it allowed, remember the conversation that we were having that night, that evening? Like you were talking about your parents and then I was talking about my parents. Like it actually, we not only engaged in toxicity and we also,
How?
by watching the show.
Oh, okay. You made it sound all vague, like we was like arguing or something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? We didn't engage in no toxicity. Always trying to make us toxic when we ain't toxic.
Donnell?
The only thing is toxic is if
y'all will see me right now, I'm like staring at his soul right
that's
now.
toxic. So when I ask her to do something, she just don't do it because I asked her. That's
I'm an
toxic.
Aquarius. Don't tell me what to do.
Exhibit A.
Anyway, that was a really cool part of the conversation, is that we were able to engage in all of that. And I don't know if you remember, but there was some pushback that I was pushing back on you on something, and I cannot remember, but I was like, no, babe, that's not what it is. And now I can't remember.
Well, good, because I ain't about to have this argument with you again. Okay. All right. So, one thing, so a couple of things to take away. One thing I want to say before we get to there, I think our assessment and our conversations from that is because we have a certain lens when we're watching these shows. We're not applying these things to ourselves. We're not judging or evaluating each other through what we see in another contestant, because it is a game show, right? And we are, so just think about that, right? So as you can enjoy these shows, or you can consume these shows, and it can actually have a healthy impact on you. So just remember that, all right? Okay, y'all. So a couple of main points we want to take away, okay? Reality shows aren't real, okay? They are false. They're fake situations. There are people who have been selected for the camera, for the show, for all these things. These situations are not real. You will not have 12 people at one time all knowing that they are trying to fight for your love. I got to fight every night to prove my love if you are on The Bachelor or Bachelorette. This is true. And this is also false. Okay? So, again, learn from them. Learn what not to do. Okay? Focus on that aspect. Learn what not to do. Right? Don't evaluate yourself through them. Don't evaluate your significant other through them. Learn what not to do. Okay? And most importantly, actively take value in the person that you're with. Okay? Acknowledge what they have. Acknowledge their strengths. Acknowledge their wonderful attributes that made you fall in love with them or get with them in the first place. I think those are pretty important.
Absolutely. And I will leave this last one before you check us out from this podcast episode. You like that?
I wish I had some crickets right now. I needed some.
Well, the last thing that I was going to say is that at the end of the day, how I've been seeing this and unpacking this, it's like medication for my depression or anxiety. Hang in there with me. It's like my medication, right? And it's medication, packaged differently, just in different names, like Love is Blind, Paradise and Love is Blind, or whatever the other shows are called.
Ultimatum.
But at the end of the day,
Love Island.
But at the end of the day, the symptom that I experience is like, this is not real. Lack of authenticity, no value sets, not original, harmful to people.
In a silo. We ain't talking about bills and work and all that stuff that you got to do.
Like, that is what I'm like literally giving to myself.
Right.
Like, that's toxic.
Yeah. That's toxic. So, well, babe, I think we did it.
I think we did it.
I think we blended that properly.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. Well, thank y'all for being with us. Truly, truly appreciate it. If y'all are with us right now, please subscribe, leave a review, share it with a friend. We want to continue to help y'all live life and have great relationships. Great relationships, healthy relationships help produce healthy children, which help produce a healthy society. All
'Cause
right.
love ain't blind.
I don't know why Mila singing. She don't even be singing. It be me. I be singing. I ain't singing right now, but I be singing. Like, what is going on, y'all?
Nothing.
All right. So just remember, y'all, stay mixy.
Bye.